Welcome back. Now, the United Kingdom has officially banned Nigerians and other international students from bringing independence into the UK. Home Secretary Suella Braverman said on Tuesday that the ban, which is aimed at reducing migration into the UK, will take effect from January 2024. Now, with this move, the UK hopes to crack down on unscrupulous education. Also, precisely, it helps us understand how the UK would continue with the process. The education agents who make use of inappropriate applications to sell immigration, not education, while blocking international students from misuse of visa system, switching from student routes to work routes. Only international students on postgraduate courses regarded as research programs will be allowed to bring in their dependents. Ms. Braverman said, and I read, this package strikes the right balance between acting decisively on tackling net migration and protecting the economic benefits that students can bring to the United Kingdom. In her words, now is the time for us to make these changes to ensure an impact on net migration as soon as possible. We expect this package to have a tangible impact on net migration. Taken together with the easing of temporary factors, we expect net migration to fall to pre-pandemic levels in the medium term. Foreign students brought 135,788 relatives to the United Kingdom in 2022, 9 times as many as in 2019. More than 59,000 Nigerian students arrived in 2022 with about 61,000 family members. Moses, when I read this yesterday, I was even thinking that that policy implementation was supposed to start this year because we had disputed reports. As of 2 days ago, they said the report was something that was not yet confirmed, that it was a leak, right? It was a leak. So apparently, it's now confirmed. Now, there are arguments that this is a Conservative Party thing within the UK. That's a Tory Conservative Party. But let me give you an instance. We have the Chinese, we also have the Indians, right? Who also have to do either their MSc or postgraduate studies in the United Kingdom. So let me give you this instance. The Chinese have, like, let's say out of 34,000 Chinese migrants, you possibly have maybe 400 dependents. For Nigerians, 34,000 Nigerians possibly in the United Kingdom having to do whatever course they want to do there. They have 34,000 dependents. Now, the thing is that the argument is that Nigerians know how to overdo things. It's really ironical. It's also that even the Nigerians in the United Kingdom are applauding the policy by the UK government. So you do know that since the Russia-Ukraine war, right, there's been issue with energy. The UK, the United States, they've been having issue with having to get enough energy because Russia was the main supply of their energy, that helps to power them and all of that. So right now, since Russia is going through sanctions, they now have to possibly look for alternative means to generate energy. So they're trying to conserve, and they're complaining immensely that these dependents
and it is the dependents that are helping to consume it. Oh well, we have joining us virtually, John Akerele. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
John. Thank you for being on the show with us today. We'll give you a little time to settle because I think you just ran in here, so so we'll give you time so we can hear you clearly. Are you okay now, John? There seems to be some wind.
Yes, I'm good.
Wind
Can you hear me?
disruption.
Are you outside? There's a wind.
There's a wind disruption there. If you can reposition so the wind will not interfere with your microphone. Can you do that for us?
All right. While we try to wait for John to get himself ready, we're also expecting Kunle Falowo to join us as well virtually while we actually talk about this, because Kunle Falowo is in the best position to actually tell us precisely how this policy is going to affect a lot of Nigerians.
When you said Nigerians, some Nigerians in the UK are applauding this policy. I don't think so.
I know. Yesterday, I was able to read and hear, because on the program yesterday, these were basically the calls. They were like, "It's even good. It's ridiculous. How can Nigerians pack all their family members?" Moses, during my MSc program, I had someone who left the exam. He did not participate in the exam. Guess who actually filed for a course in the UK? His wife. And when she got it, she packed the husband and all the children down to the UK.
We know what happened towards the end of 2022. Towards the end of 2022, a lot of Nigerians, out of fear that trouble will break out during the elections, the 2023 elections, a lot of Nigerians made the run for it. All right, and then the UK opened its borders, made it easy for students to come in.
Can you remember something? Can you remember during COVID? There were a lot of people died. A lot of people died. The UK opened its borders for migrants. They were going to. But the funny thing is that these dependents or these students, these foreigners, actually aid the UK's economy.
Well, let's not forget also that in recent time, we've had medical practitioners in the UK, nurses going on strike, asking for increment in salaries and wages. So the health sector and the support staff have been reduced.
Yes.
So these dependents are the ones that actually work.
Well, now
these dependents work. The students have limited work time. In
20 hours.
20 hours
on their visa. 20
you're
hours.
You're allowed to work 20 hours, but 20 hours work cannot give you the money you need to pay your bills, pay your water bills, your light bills, and other things that you need to pay.
Shelter.
All right. Even if you are able to pay for those, you may not have any for groceries.
Exactly.
So then having one or two dependents, now that's another side to it. Having one or two dependents do the 44 hours a week work, you use that money to augment what you need for the home.
So I think the UK have already been able to find out that they've actually found a lacuna in these benefits for migrants, and that's what a couple of Nigerians and other migrants are utilizing. But here is the scenario. It's not like it's only Nigeria though. The Indians,
we know
the
it's
Chinese.
not only Nigeria. I was saying something before.
The Nigerians are...
I was saying something before you took my mind off it. Now, in 2022, when Nigerians, because Nigerians were a bit apprehensive as to the elections and what would happen. All right, some Nigerians, I know a few people, I know more than 3 men who had houses built by them in Lagos. 2 of them have their houses around Yaba axis, which is a highbrow area. They sold their houses, resigned from their work, and made for the UK, saying that, look, if trouble is going to break out in Nigeria, let me have my family members safe somewhere. And the UK was the place to run to. So I think that surge in the UK is affecting the economy, is affecting them. And now they want to put a stop to it. Well, it's not the first time that they're putting it.
But you know something, Moses? Another interesting thing to also consider is this. Some critics have said, oh, so the UK have gotten the number of persons they want. This time around, now they want to close off. They've gotten what they want to get. Some person said, oh, they recall that during COVID, when they talked about this, that they knew the UK at some point was going to put a stop to it. So they've gotten the number of persons they need to help serve them in whatever capacity. And so that's basically why they're putting a cuff to it.
Maybe after a while, they will call for more people. But see, it's not even about the UK now. It's about Nigeria. Let's focus on Nigeria. It's about the government of Nigeria not putting things in place for its people to stay, work, school, work. And I mean, Nigerians are going to Sudan to school. All right? Nigerians are going to Sudan to school. Nigerians are going to Ghana to school. Nigerians are running Cyprus and the rest of them. When they can actually,
out of Nigeria.
If it's done in such a way that yes, the educational system is good here, Nigerians will stay.
Of course.
Nigerians will stay
because there are welfare benefits.
Anyway, we have Cyril Abaku, VOP analyst, joining us for this one. Cyril, welcome once again. Thank you. You were here with us during the newspaper headlines. So, what do you make of this policy? We saw it coming, though.
Yes. Of course, anybody should have seen it coming. I have a mentee who relocated to, of course, she's single for her master's program. Then one day across the road, she was like, hey, Jeremiah Bitunde, Afana, Bawonia, and so on. On the streets of UK. It has gone to that point. It's not like
second home for Nigerians.
Somebody she knew very well in Nigeria that was like a neighbor, just pops up and Obafan and that, that sort of thing. So this is like your backyard going over to the UK.
Okay.
That's where we are right now. In fact, okay, somebody called me one day and said, I was talking about you, and somebody said the person knows you, but I didn't tell the person that I also know you divine. So one day the person puts a call across me and says, hold on for a second and see who is going to talk to you. It has gone to that point. the person just said, somebody was like to talk to him, and was like, who could that person be? Then I begin to talk and they say, what? So that's where we are. We've got to the point where somebody you know, somebody who knows somebody you know, you can run into such a person maybe the person even lives a block close to you. As I speak to you today, the Indians didn't wait for the UK to pass a law. The Indians realized that it was a risk, that it was not worth it to have their doctors be the highest number of foreign doctors in the UK. They had to make a policy that had to bring back their doctors back.
We tried, but let's look at ours. The policy that we just made, saying that resident doctors must spend 5 years here. Is that a good policy?
No, I think the policy that even pursuing was that if you study as a doctor in a university, you must study 5 years you must work 5 years in Nigeria before you relocate overseas.
Does that seem like a good policy that would want to make them come back or even stay?
It is punitive.
Yes.
It is aggressive. It is confrontational. It does not even bode well for patriotism. How can you put a gun to a doctor's head and say, work as we want you to work? It doesn't work that way. So, for example, when India found out that they had the highest number of foreign doctors in the UK, they made a law that made their doctors to willingly go back. Today, I hope you know that for medicine, people go to India for medical tourism.
Yes. Even
okay. Pakistan was I think Nigeria was the third. There are schools in the US that if the Nigerian population was to leave, those schools could collapse. I'm talking of teaching faculty.
Okay. Please hold your thoughts, sir. So sorry to interrupt you. Let's make connections with John again. John Akerile, who is in diaspora, I think he would have a good view. John, good morning once again.
Can you hear me? Good morning to you.
Yes, we can hear you better now.
Hello, John.
Go ahead.
All right, that's good.
All right, very good. So, John, here it is. We're talking about the UK policy, which is to commence in January 2024, whereby anyone who is going to the UK this time around will no longer have to come in with their dependents. Nigerians, for example, are usually one of those excessive persons that take advantage of opportunities like this. What's your take? Hello, John.
I think if home was good, people will not go to the UK. And even if they will go to the UK, they will not go with all their bags and baggages, including siblings and family. If you look back in this same country, Nigeria, when we used to travel to UK then, you don't have this humongous number of people migrating to UK. Okay, people go to UK probably for holidays and they come back home to Nigeria. But in this time and era, it is now a case of a go and no return. And so it's more like an escape route from a place where the system does not work to a place where each of your time that you work for, you get your penny for it. Okay? Where system works, where when you work, you get the equivalent of your work hours, and your basic amenities and infrastructures are there for you. So number one, life is easier. Number two, you get dividend of your effort. Number three, you are stable mentally. Okay? But you are in a place where it's of a Sena clan.
It sounds
where
all
people
good.
think the right
good,
way.
John,
okay?
John,
where government respond to cases.
Hello,
all right?
John.
So
Hello,
if you talk about the case of Nigeria and UK now, people move to UK, and UK is saying this is over. Okay? But don't mind you, if you check the UK, they have all sorts of different kinds of visas. Okay, so if this one, they are saying, okay, for schooling, don't bring your dependent. Fine, don't bring your dependent, but there are other areas that can still migrate to the UK. Okay?
All right.
But we do know that going with the student visa was, an easier route to get into the UK as against skilled workers and all of that. Well, they've also said that those doing their PhD can stay. Now, another thing to it is students, before now, students can spend 2 years after leaving school. I mean, the school term is maybe a year and some months. So you can actually stay 2 years after, and then you can work, and then some people take advantage of that to renew the visas and switch it to a work visa and all of that. Now they are saying you can't spend more than 6 months. All right, and we also do know that Nigeria has been a lot of people do not believe in the entity called Nigeria, and that's why they run to greener pastures. Now, Cyril did say something earlier in the show that India came up with a policy to keep its doctors back at home. That way they could develop the health sector in India, because at the time they were all running to the UK, running to America, trying to go over there for greener pastures. But they made life better for them in India. Now the world is going to India, to get medical treatment. Now, what are the laws that we can make right here that can make things better for farmers like you? I know you were a farmer, but you left it. You ran. You ran abroad. So what are the laws that we can make right here that can, be good for people like farmers and doctors and
basically
Nigerians in general?
Attract Nigerians in general,
and make them come back, not just keep those that are here.
Okay, so let me start from the farmers issue that you made mention of. I'm a farmer, plantation, and in case you don't know, my friend's fiancé was kidnapped by herdsmen on the farmland. Wow. He was killed even after ransom was paid.
Wow. On your farmland?
So I was affected directly when it comes to farmers herdsmen clash in Nigeria. Okay, I'm a typical example of that. So that's why you don't see me on the farmland again. So until the farmland is safe, then I can turn back to the farmland. Wow. That being said, what law can we put in place to help our people come back home? The first law that we must put in place is that our politicians do not travel outside the country for medical tourism. That's the first law. That is the first law. If that law is being enacted by both chambers of the House of Assembly, that no public office holder should seek for help outside the shores of Nigeria, then can we take our health sector seriously? Then can we inject the right funds into the health sector? Then can doctors who have spent years in the university and teaching hospital, get equivalent of all of their time and effort of studying in terms of welfare, in terms of finance, in terms of housing. See, when you go to other clans and you say that these doctors are attracted, ordinary Dubai there, attract our doctors. What are they giving our doctors that we cannot give them? They give them good housing policy. They have good cars they drive. They have good shifting hours they work, and they have good pay for their work. So if we have the same thing, we didn't move to Dubai or move to UK, the answer is no. Now, Nigeria is just a funny country where they will make laws and say, if you study law, if you study medicine in Nigeria, you must work 5 years in Nigeria. But there's no law that stops your governor from moving from Lagos to UK to go and get health care. Now, mind you, is there a Nigerian doctor that treats your governor in the UK? No. So the first thing is that we start, charity must begin at home. Charity must begin with our public office holders. Everybody, as far as a public office holder and you're using public funds, you must not go for medical tourism. If you say you have built world-class health facility in your state, when you are sick and all members of the family are sick, go to that world facility center. Let those world facility technicians and doctors, let them treat you there. And if you get there and there's no paracetamol or syringe to administer drugs to, then you will now ask the budget that was allocated for the Federal Ministry of Health, where did you go to? Right. Let's start doing some things right. Don't let us come and we shock all these people that say, okay, there's no law that Nigeria should bring. The law that Nigeria should bring is the law that our public office holders must first and foremost utilize public facilities. And another that they must do again is that your children, since you're a public servant, must also attend public schools.
All right then, thank you.
Then you will not see
John.
the classrooms.
Yes, we do know that, yes, there's a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, we established contacts with you rather late in the show, but we appreciate your contribution. And we must say, sorry for your loss, truly.
That's true.
That must have been devastating. Well, I didn't know about that, so once again, sorry for your loss. And once a very big thank you to you for coming on the program. We do have, we need to touch on another segment of the program before we call it a day. But we'll talk about this again. We'll talk about this again. And we do hope that our lawmakers will come up with laws that will be, you know, good for Nigerians. And maybe Nigerians will take a cue from this and, you know, stay back home and develop the country. Thank you for being on the program, John Akirile, Public Affairs Analyst.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, then, Cyril, I would like to excuse you as well. Thank you for coming on the program.
Certainly.
We'll take one minute break, and we'll have Kayla join us for entertainment.